Hello YouTube, my name's Eric. Today I'm going to teach you how to make your own Jedi belt made out of leather. Now this is from the prequels, it's not the original trilogy, so I hope you enjoy. Now this is going to be close to the end result. This is one I made a couple of years ago, and I'm going to show you step by step the details to make something pretty similar to this so you can have one for your own costume. Okay, some basic tools you need. You need a belt strap about 2.5 inches thick to 3 inches thick. You're going to want a second belt close to 1 inch in thickness. Measure it to your own waist. You're going to need some form of leather dye or stain, some leather stitching needles, some form of leather punch. You can't just sew through leather with needles because it's just too thick. You have to pre-punch with a leather puncher. These are 1/2 inch post screws, and that's going to hold your middle belt together. You're going to want some sort of belt buckle. This is a sliding belt buckle that I ripped off this little piece here and just folded it over onto the leather itself. You get this at Joann Fabrics, and if you don't like that, you could try a rounded silver one. There's a few Jedi out there with that. I just don't recommend these because it looks too real worldly and it kind of ruins the effect. And also, you're going to need some sort of cutting device and a ruler and maybe a mallet, depends on what you're going to be using. We most definitely will be using a mallet on this build. And this is an anvil and a I don't know what you call that thing, but it helps you with putting snaps on. Okay. You're going to want to measure your belt and find the center point. When I did find the center point, I just marked it on the edge. You don't want to mark anything in the middle. That way you can kind of figure out where this belt buckle is going to be when it's, stationary. Now after you find the center point, you want to kind of measure out a foot. So you take 6 inches. I don't know if you can see that little dot. You want to take a pen or a pencil and you just want to mark ever so slightly on that edge. And that's where our 2 post screws are going to be for the first of them. Alright, go down to the 12. And again, like so. Then I took a measuring ruler and measured the distance, the width of the belt, and I folded it over and I made a little marking where the halfway point is, and I did that down here. So now I know the distance, the exact distance between my 2 post screws are going to be, and from there I'll measure out the width of the belt and make my holes with my leather punch. You're going to want to take a ruler, and since my belt is 3/4 of an inch thick, I'm going to measure it out evenly from the center point, just 1 inch, and I will put a marking so I can make my holes. So right here and here are going to be where I'm going to make my holes, so the belt can rest dead center and have the post screws holding it into place. Then you just punch through. Make sure you're really put some effort into it. The leather's pretty thick. You want to give it a little twist. When you release, you'll have a hole. That's actually punched all the way through. Just sometimes you gotta push it. Now I went ahead and got all my holes punctured out. That's a little bit better that that fan's not going. I measure about 12.5 inches in between these from the end. And again, about 12.5 to 13 inches space apart here. So these are 1 inch apart, and we're going to fit our screws in just to test it out. Okay, I got the back half with the threading in. I'm going to just twist that on like so. I'll tighten it up later with a screwdriver. But yeah, that will work. The next thing I need to do is take my smaller belt, the 3/4 of an inch thick one, and I'm going to cut it in half because we're going to stitch it to the ends. Now this is my layout. As you can see, it's coming together once I put these screws in, and I'll die it. But right now I'm going to make some holes so I can stitch this together. You'll notice there's a little bit of a gap on these edges, and that's fine. We're going to have it kind of overlap and snap together to the other side from one end to the other, and that's how you'll actually fasten it to you. So I need to make some holes so I can stitch this onto this. So just find a very small setting, and you'll puncture about 4 holes. And I'm going to just, you don't have to do 4, you can do 3 or more, it's up to you. Alright, now that I got my holes on the small belt, I'm going to take a pencil here and just kind of poke on through and make an impression where my stitch is going to be. You can kind of see there. Alright? And you follow that to the other end. Now we have our markings. We're going to puncture some holes into it, and that's how we'll stitch these together. And after our holes are punctured, we'll line them up and we'll get the sewing needles out and our waxed yarn. Now when you're sewing, you have to use like a thick waxed yarn, and you gotta use 2 needles at the same time. I'll try to show you how while holding a foam. Alright, when stitching with leather, you're going to have 2 needles on both ends of the thread. Now, I can't really show you this while holding a camera, but basically, you loop this through the eye of the needle, and then you take the loop and you wrap it around through. Okay, I pushed that loop through, and you can see the end piece and the loop that comes around, that's the rest of it. I'm going to make a little slack without pulling my 2 strings out, and I'm going to, as you can see, I kind of looped this around my needle. I'm going to just pin that down for a second and pull that tight. Now, much easier with 2 hands. And you want to stitch your leather all at once. You don't want to tie off a layer like you would when you hand stitch anything with fabric. You get 2 needles at the same time, and then you go across, you put one in, and then you pull the other one out, and then you put the other one in. So I got my first needle through, and I will take the other one from the same slot, stick that through, and now go on to the next loop. So I just stuck the other needle that was on the opposite side through the same hole the other one came in. So that has a stitch and that side has a stitch. That's why you sew at the same time with two needles on one string. So again, I come from the back, from the last one I put in. I'm going to take this one and put that through the same exact hole. It's going to be hard. And when I tighten it, that makes a stitch in the same location on both sides. And just follow that all the way through, get it nice and secure, and copy it to the other side. Okay, so I wrapped it around a few times. Got a nice square shape. You could probably do an X if you want to. I just don't feel like that's necessary. Now what you're going to do to kind of finish it off, you're going to stick your needle through a new hole, but you're not going to go all the way through. So once you do that, alright, so it's like in between the two pieces of leather. Find where the stitching is on one of them, poke it through and just make a loop and tie it off. And that's how you finish it out. A little bit of a better angle. See, I went through and I looped it around on the threads, and this allows you to hide your stitching when you knot it. You do that probably about twice and it'll be nice and secure. And you want to repeat for the piece on the back. You just poke that through and do the exact same thing. Find a thread, pull it almost all the way through, loop it around your existing thread, and tighten it. Yeah. Then you just cut these off, and you got stitching, and it looks nice and clean. Alright, now I got my leather stitched on both sides. So now we're going to stain it. Now, I already showed you, I'm going to go with this equal flow. Now, dealing with leather stain, you're going to want to wear gloves. Once this, just like well, your hand is skin, you know, leather skin. So if you get this onto your skin, it's going to stain for a few days. In fact, it's probably going to stain for about a week. So you're going to want to wear gloves. Now I got my gloves, I got my stain, or dip. And most of your stains will come with one of these little puff balls. And this is a dark chocolate, so I'm just going to rub that around. Just kind of like semicircles. Just like so. For a smoother finish, I suggest using some sort of sponge. This is just some bedding foam. But once you apply that, it just goes on a lot smoother. Get a nice even stain. You want to go over your old edges a little bit. You want a nice even coat. So just keep on rubbing it so you don't have any streakiness. and reapply as needed. Don't forget the sides. Alright, after everything's nice and dry, and it would probably have been better if you stained this first instead of fastening a belt and stitching it on. But I didn't, so that's that. Moving on, we're going to put the post screws in. Now you're going to need 8 in total for all your holes. And it comes with a screw-in threading. You're going to stick through the bottom half, like so, and screw in the top. Just twist. You can tighten it up later with a screwdriver. Now it's starting to come together. A little note, when you put these, I guess you would call it the male side with the threading. When you put those through and you put the top part does not go all the way to the back side and meet the screw all the way 100%. It's going to screw into the leather a little bit, and that's what you want. Because if it didn't go down like that, it would just poke on through and slide in and slide out, and that's not going to be fun. Alright, we're getting there. We're almost done. Now, how we're going to attach it from this side to that side. You can use Velcro. You can make more holes and just have shoestring and just kind of try to hide it. Almost all the ones in the movie have like a piece of leather that goes all the way around to hide that they're two halves stitched together in the back. You can hide it with a belt pouch as well. But like I said, you can use leather. You can use Velcro. But I'm going to put on some button snaps. Now I got these in copper color from Candy Leather, and I'm going to put 4 in on this side and 4 in on the other, and they'll snap together. I noticed this is just a little bit too wide, so I'm going to cut this side off because for some reason the sticky part of the price tag just didn't come off of this. That will overlap. See, I'll put either my Velcro or my snaps on top of this, and that'll look almost seamless. Alright, let's get started with the snaps. I gotta punch some holes on both sides. So I got my holes punched out. Now to explain how snaps work. First, you need this tool. It's called an anvil. It's a little semicircle. When you buy leather at a leather store, they can easily direct you to where to get one of these. And here's how the snaps are. You got kind of like a button that's slightly curved. You kind of have something that looks like a plunger that goes on top of it. A piece of leather goes in between. Okay? Once you hammer that in, with this tool going into that part, it'll be nice and tight, like so. This was kind of messed up, but you get the idea. Got the smooth circular side, and kind of like, I guess you would say, the female side. The male side, and you got a flat piece of leather in between. Put this on top, hammer into place. Okay, so I'm going to put the male side and try to hide it by putting it on the bottom part. So I put that on first, have it stick through, and then I'm going to hold. I can't do this with one hand, so I'm just going to, you're going to have to take my word for it. You'll see kind of like a little puncturing piece right there. that goes dead center into that, like, I don't know what you call it. Alright, so I hammered that in, and you can see that piece that was sticking out with the hole in the middle, that's been pressed down, and that snaps into place. Going to repeat to the other side, and then I'll get the kind of like button looking piece on the other ends. Make sure you get these in the right position so they can snap into place the right way before hammering them in. So, rough side up is what we're going to be looking at. And you gotta have that female piece going right there, and you'll use that and that mallet to press down that piece like this to set it into place. Alright, well, that's everything. It's all snapped together. You can now add your lightsabers, maybe some belt bags and pouches, and a Cobra Tech clip to hang your lightsaber on. Okay, Padawans, if you like this video, please click a like. Maybe you want to subscribe. I'll come out with some more stuff to show you. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Alright, God bless. Take care. May the Force be with you. I just wanted to add, most of the supplies that I used today were from Tandy Leather. You can look them up at tandyleather.com. They're a very standard store to go and see what you can find for leather supplies. If you don't have one in your area, you can shop online. Some of the supplies you can find, such as the snaps and leather stain and stitching material, you can find at Hobby Lobby and Joann Fabrics as well. I hope this has helped you, and have a great day.